Hey everybody, this is Jessica Sherry from Yoga Lab Helsinki, and today I'm going to give a little bit of a tutorial actually on how to get into Bhujapidasana, and this is for beginners, those who are new to the posture, not necessarily new to asana in general, because you definitely need to have a little bit of familiarity already with asana practice. But so this posture, Bhujapidasana, is found in the primary series seated sequence of the Patabi Joyce method of Ashtanga Yoga. Okay, so a couple things that I'm going to say before I get into it. One is that if you're interested in seeing the full version of the posture, you can check one of my earlier Instagram videos where I just do a demonstration and I don't do any explanation. And so you can see the process of getting into and out of the asana. Okay, so but for today, I'm going to break it down a little bit, or a lot. Let's see what happens. Okay, so how you're going to get into this pose is always from downward facing dog. Okay, so I can demonstrate that position, of course, so here. Okay, and now, as a beginner, you're going to definitely step into the posture, okay? And then later on, and as you will see if you watch the other video that I did about Bhujapidasana, you will see how you can jump into it. But today, we're just gonna walk into it, okay? So from downward facing dog, and the first step is just step the feet to the outsides of the hands, okay? Now, I'm gonna turn to the side so you can get a good view of some of these preparatory steps, okay? So assume that I was in down dog. And remember, when you're in down dog, you should have good alignment with the hands and the arms. The hands should be shoulder distance apart, okay? So I've stepped my feet to the outsides of my hands. And so the first step of this posture is to be able to do that, so to work on that. So that's stepping while keeping the hands flat on the ground, and then take a moment here. And this is a place where a beginner can really hang out for quite some time. And when I mean quite some time, I mean like weeks, months maybe, to try to get comfortable in this position. And so in this position, basically, you're just sinking into your sitting bones, and what you're doing is you're training your hip flexor muscles to become flexible or relaxable and strong at the same time, okay? So many people have a hard time sitting like this. So, you can just take this as a practice in itself, okay? So, if you can do that, and you want to go a little farther, you're going to start walking the feet forward of the hands. Okay? So remember, the hands were shoulder distance apart when I started, and I'm going to maintain that good hand alignment throughout this entire posture. So Bhujapidasana, it means shoulder pressing posture. So really what I'm doing here is I'm squeezing my upper legs, my thighs, against my upper arms, up close toward the shoulders. Now, a couple things here. So this posture is definitely involving a lot of balance as well as strength. Strength in the legs, strength in the core, and also strong arms, although it's so much more about legs. So hips and yeah, okay, so this balance that is happening here, it's a balance between the weight that's in my hips and the weight that is going to be forward into my feet. So back and forward. You guys know the children's apparatus called a teeter-totter or seesaw, where it's a balance, it's a board, and one kid gets on one side and the other kid gets on the other, and the heavier kid always goes boom to the ground, the light child flies to the sky. So in this posture, your body is kind of like a teeter-totter. So the weight is getting distributed between the hips and the feet. So you can watch. As I lower my hips down, I try to also keep them lifted so that I am able to lift my feet off the ground. Now, if I don't have enough weight down into my hips, if my hips are up and I'm not able to find a balance point so that my hips stay lifted, then my feet really won't be able to lift up off the ground. There's no point of counterbalance. Whereas, if I let my hips go all the way to the ground, then my feet are probably going to remain lifted all the way off the ground. So what I want is I want them both to stay lifted. Here, in the middle. So this can be like the first, after that, getting comfortable in the squatting, this can be like the first stage of the posture. Trying to find a way to keep your hips lifted and your feet lifted, okay? So the next stage would be to try to bring the feet together in front of you, and I eventually hook the one foot over the other, the right foot over the left foot, and stay lifted. But before that, you have to get comfortable with balancing here, with the hips lifted and the feet lifted, and then you can start to play around with walking the feet forward. Walking the feet forward and close to each other. So now please notice that the feet are definitely forward of the center of my body. They're not right underneath me. I see a lot of beginners try to get into the pose with the feet right underneath. But it's better if you can keep them farther away from you so that you can really then find that point of balance that's in the core of the body that you need to have in order to be able to perform the rest of the asana, which is hooking the feet right over left, and then eventually going into the final step of the posture, which is taking the head to the ground and balancing. Let's see. Okay, so that's the final stage of the posture with the head on the ground. So that was just a few, little tips about working on Bhujapidasana. Yeah, if you have any questions, put them in the comments or send a message. If you want to see the full version of the posture, check the earlier Instagram video I did, and yeah, or come to class. I have a Wednesday afternoon for Helsinki people, early morning for those on the East Coast of the US, primary series class, so you can come and we've been working on this pose there. So, okay everybody, have a great day, have a nice rest of the week. It's actually only Tuesday here, so yeah, okay, take care, see you, bye.